Hello, my name is Darrell Robert Schoon, and I'm here with the founder of the Temple of Universality, Reverend Betty Tatalajski. And the topic today is going to be one of great interest, especially to those ambulatory paranoids that are walking around. The topic is, there is no fear.
Nothing to fear.
Nothing to fear.
FDR said it, nothing to fear but fear itself.
All right.
And that's so true, isn't it?
All right.
It's so true. And and we wondered, well, a few people probably wondered where he learned that. How did he come up with that?
Yes.
Well, I found out that he was for 30 years in communication with Helena Roerich, who at one time was a president of the Theosophical Society in Adyar, India.
Okay.
So we know that he was, at least in his heart, a theosophist.
Talking to spirit.
Talking to spirit. So he knew that that was true. And when he gave that message to America, we took it to heart because he was surrounded by great angel beings and spirit itself.
Now, he said this in 1943, didn't he, around then?
Yeah, and
in the middle of the war.
Yeah. And
I mean, there was the Germans, there was the Japanese.
Yes, and
pain,
there's nothing
suffering.
to fear but fear itself.
Yes.
But here is this man who made it a point of not being shown to be totally
crippled.
disabled.
Disabled, yes.
And of course, he had his son was always there holding him up. He did not want to be photographed in his wheelchair
Sure.
and all. But we know there was a lot of pain about that too. Okay,
Yes.
I mean, he wasn't just
Yeah.
crippled, but he was in pain.
Yeah.
But he said that, and he knew that it to be true, and he conveyed that to America. He shared that. But there is nothing to fear but fear itself. And what I love is Jesus says, "Do not resist evil. Resist not evil." Well, that is becoming so necessary, so important in the world right now because there are so many people who are fear mongers. I've heard that word, fear mongers, among us who are scared and to try and scare us
Other
to
people,
death.
yes.
And there is nothing to fear except fear itself. Well, those 33 years ago that I became, opened the door and fell into Wonderland and discovered A Course in Miracles, which was rather new very new
Sure.
at that time. But I started facilitating a group because that's how you learn, is to share it with other folks. So I was facilitating the spirit world are the teachers. So here on the earth plane, there are no teachers of A Course in Miracles. That's the Holy Spirit, okay? But I was facilitating, and I love that Course in Miracles because it says love is letting go of fear. Let go of fear, and the only thing it replaces it is love.
That's what the Course said.
That's what it says.
That the opposite of love is fear. However, that which has no opposite.
Right.
That's what. So there's no opposite
no
of love.
opposite.
So fear doesn't exist.
No, but we create it with our ego.
With our mind, with our ego, with our separated sense.
Ego wants us to be fearful.
Fearful.
The ego's job is to keep you in hell.
Yes.
And they keep you out of heaven, which is your spirit.
Yes.
So we're here, to connect with the spirit. And of course, in India and other places, they call it self-realization or realization of the self that is God.
Yes, they have a tradition of living outside of fear.
Right. And the other thing, my favorite out of A Course in Miracles, I need do nothing. You know that.
I love that.
Because I love to be supported by Spirit World. So several years ago, it was in January, I believe.
What year? Around when?
About 10 years ago, I guess. Probably.
I just like pinpointing these stories here in my catalog.
Probably about that time. Okay. Anyway, a couple of friends of mine here said, "Betty, we want to give you an early birthday gift. My birthday's June 1.
Okay.
So it was early birthday gift. They said, we're going down to Daytona Beach, and we have condo there. We've rented you one too. We want you to stay with us a week down in Florida because we're going to Cassadaga." Now, some of you out here, very few of you out here, will understand that there are 3 great spiritualist camps that were created 125, 30 years ago. and one Lilydale, New York, in the heart down here, Camp Chesterfield, and Cassadaga in Florida. So that was the spiritual triad here. So I thought, well, this is really lovely of you, you know, and this would be really fun to go down there to the beach. But I said, well, you know, there's not much spirit at Cassadaga because, but 50 years ago, it was a mecca.
Okay.
Especially for rich folks and the film industry.
Yeah.
But you know, and I thought, well, they're going to be disappointed,
Yeah.
you know. But anyway, I said, I want to go. Well, my friend was a German industrialist who had a Tucson home and homes in a half a dozen countries, you know. But he and his wife, Dorothea, were beautiful friends of mine. And she had been to camp with me. So his friend, this German professor at Stetson University, wanted to come down. He says, because I've seen things that you wouldn't believe. So I thought, So he talked Carl into going, okay? And
To Cassadaga?
To Cassadaga,
okay.
So we go down there, and it's some sweet people there, you know?
Yeah.
And so it didn't, you know, I like spiritualism where the things you see just curl your hair, you know. Well, this did not happen, but it was lovely. Okay. Well, the second thing my friend wanted was to see the manatees. In St. John's River.
Yes.
So after we do Cassadaga, we go over to the St. John's River, and we're going to rent a boat and go out and look down and see them walking around on the floor. The water in St. John's is very clear.
Okay.
So we go down, and it's a nice warm January day. Well, the manatees are not there because it's too warm.
Okay.
You can see in the bottom there, the water, the nice warm water is flowing like a faucet, you know, in the circles and all, and you really want to get in there. It's so lovely.
Yeah.
But anyway, they said, no, the manatees won't come because...
They like it colder.
Right.
Okay.
They're just coming over to warm up.
Yeah.
So I said, well, we'll just have to lower the temperature, okay? So I told my friends, I said, we have to lower it at least 20 degrees or we won't see them, you know? So we go out and have fun, and the next morning it's at least 25 degrees cooler than it was the day before.
Okay.
So we go back to the river, and they rent this, and the manatees are there.
They're there. Okay.
And they're walking around, look like, as we said, pink hippos.
Okay. How long are they, Betty? I've never seen one.
They're large.
Uh-huh.
They're large like a hippo.
Oh, they are.
Except they're pale pink.
Okay.
And they don't even look real, you know, and they have little legs like this. And anyway, it was a wonderful experience. So they have rented this boat. It's a big flat bottom. It looks like it's about, I don't know, it looked like it's about 20 feet square, okay? But it's flat, like this.
Yeah.
And the mechanism for driving was right in the middle. Now, both of these brilliant men, neither one of them knew anything about boating, especially with it looks like a car, you know, a wheel in the middle.
You know what, Betty? They were men. They didn't need to know anything about boating.
And they were arguing.
And they were successful.
They were arguing over who got to drive.
Exactly.
You know?
These two people had never had.
No, and they're sitting there in the middle of this flat bottom thing, and around it are places for people to sit.
Well, you know what? Being a man, I knew what they were thinking. Yeah. How hard could it be?
How hard can it be? And you know, wouldn't you think that it would be guided from the front or something? But no, it's right in the middle. And around the side are all padded things around the side.
To sit on.
To sit, lie down.
So how many were on this boat?
4.
4. 2 men, 2...
No, I'm sorry. 5.
5.
I was odd man out.
Okay. 2 men, 3 women. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we get on there, and
you're still on the St. John's River.
We're on the St. John's River, but we're going to get on the boat now.
Okay.
We have been walking here, watching them. Okay.
All right.
This is our maiden voyage. Okay. So they hop on. There is a rail about this high up from the boat. all the way around.
Oh, so there's a railing,
It's
like a
big-
bar
oh,
railing.
yeah, it's just a square thing,
okay,
a square
okay.
boat with that railing on
Okay.
it. Well, they hop up, and the professor runs over there and gets the wheel first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he wants to drive it.
He wants to drive it.
Yeah.
So they're on, they've hopped
Yeah.
up, they're very agile,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
well, I start up, I grab the pole,
Yeah.
and he puts his foot on the gas.
Gas.
Now, I am body surfing the St. Johns River. I don't swim, and I don't get my hair wet, right?
Okay. It must have been
Well,
two things. That's
here
right.
I'm holding on,
Yeah.
and I'm stunned, but not frightened. I'm
Yeah.
just stunned,
Stunned, yeah.
And so here goes the boat real quick, right out in the middle.
And you're being dragged.
I'm being dragged.
yeah.
I'm surfing
Yeah.
here, And my friend from Tucson, Dorothea, starts crying. Oh my God, the Reverend's gonna die. The Reverend's gonna die.
right.
And
Yeah.
this woman, the professor's
His
wife,
wife.
whom we have never seen before, they are frantic.
Sure.
I could not
because you're not in the boat. You're
No,
holding
and
on barely.
They
Yeah.
also, Dorothea also knows I can't swim.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't get my hair wet.
Okay.
So
They didn't know that your fear of getting your hair wet was so strong you weren't going to drown.
Absolutely. But you know what?
right.
There was also something that I remembered right before I left. My spirit teacher told me, Dr. Blair, told me, you're going to Florida, you're going to have a nice adventure. Well, he didn't say I was going to die down there.
right.
He just said I was going to
You're
have
gonna
an
have a nice adventure.
So I wasn't
A fright.
frightened.
Yeah. You figured, hey, yeah.
But I wanted to get in the boat.
Boat, of course. You didn't want to be
But there
dragged.
was nothing to put my foot on
Yes.
to scoot me in
Yes.
because it's only this shallow. It's a flat bottom thing. It doesn't have any body to it.
Yeah.
There's no place to put the foot.
Yeah, and push yourself in.
No.
Nothing, yeah.
Nothing. So I'm just surfing the river.
And now the professor he doesn't know what to do.
Well, no, he doesn't,
driving.
because if he backs up, he's going to
Run over
me.
you.
Well, now the thing was, these women were crying.
Okay.
Now my friend reached down.
Yeah.
Reached out and took my glasses.
Okay, so
because I'd been wearing my glasses to see the manatees.
Okay, all right.
So she's got
Take
my
your glasses.
She grabs my watch off.
Yeah.
Everything's cool.
Okay.
But I'm just cannot get in. But
Yeah.
I could not understand why they were crying and so hysterical. Okay, and and Dorothea. Oh my God, we can't go home. The minister's going to
You're gonna die. Yeah.
And
She was frantic.
She was frantic.
Okay.
Okay, so we're driving through and I'm going up through the river.
Yeah.
And the only thing on the river, and they had all these logs.
Okay.
We see that in the
Yeah.
water a lot. All
Yeah.
these logs around, and I thought, and they were bisting them and all.
Yeah.
And so, as I said, I wasn't fearful.
Right, fearful. You're just holding on,
I knew that
yeah.
I could not swim.
Okay.
And I didn't know how it would be reconciled.
But you
I
had no
knew-
fear.
I had no,
No
fear,
fear,
because
yes.
I knew that I didn't go down there to die.
To die,
okay?
yeah.
Because Dr. Blair said it's an adventure.
It's going to be all right. Yeah, you're going to have an
okay?
adventure.
Well, this adventure lasted at least a half hour with me and everybody else being frantic.
Yes.
And I thought, well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
But it amazed me, too, that rail just fit my arms.
Yeah.
And the momentum of the water, I wasn't...
So it wasn't hard.
It wasn't hard.
It wasn't hard, okay.
And so, but I didn't know. Now, can you imagine how this was reconciled? I couldn't. I wouldn't
You didn't know
have
how
any
they were going
idea how it would.
The guy didn't know how to drive.
He didn't know how to drive. He couldn't back up. And I couldn't let go and swim. And it had all these logs and everything, okay?
Yeah, in the river.
Right. So all of a sudden, after about a half hour of doing this, a head pops up right out of, there's a scuba diver.
Okay.
It comes
Okay.
right up beside me.
Okay.
And he says, could I be of assistance? I said, well, yes, you may. Immediately, one comes up on my
the other side.
left side.
Okay.
They take me under the arms. Again, I've never got my hair
You're wet?
And they swim me to the shore.
Wow. And your hair's not wet.
My hair's not wet. They swim me to the shore. There is a I don't know if they were Navy SEALs or what that would be swimming in this water,
Yeah, yeah.
okay? But their friends, that's a graduating class of, I think, Navy SEAls, but I'm not sure.
But it was military.
And anyway, they've all got cameras, and
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
got me all on the film, and they
Yeah.
are so happy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're so great.
They saw you going.
You know,
They saw this
oh,
thing going
and
by.
and they saw their friends,
Yeah.
you know, saving me.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you very
Yeah, yeah,
much.
yeah.
I get back on.
Yeah.
They helped the guy get the boat over. Get me in
the middle of the boat
So
now.
I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm lying on the padded thing over here, and then she comes over and brings me my glasses.
Yeah.
Those were not logs; they were alligators. I hadn't a clue, and I'm so happy. Nobody said to me,
They're alligators are going to eat you.
I would not have
No,
been
no,
as calm as I was.
That's right.
But when I'm lying there just floating up the
Yeah.
St. Johns River,
Yeah.
and I put those glasses on, and I sat up and I looked, because they were all over the place.
Yeah.
We had to go through like this.
Yeah, you had to avoid them.
And those logs started to open their mouth as I passed by. Well, see, they couldn't understand how I could be
So calm.
or so ignorant as
yeah.
they thought.
Okay.
You know, there's something wrong with
Yeah,
this
exactly.
woman.
Yeah.
Because she's not responding, you know, and screaming
Yeah, that's
as
right.
I would have if I would have
No.
seen him, you know. So here, when the logs started opening their mouth, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
So the only concern I had, because I was still ignorant, when these two men came right out with all this gear on they've got and took me under the elbows and took me to the shore, my only concern was that they were all filming me, and I was going to be on that candid camera thing, or, you know.
Yeah. Not graced in the way you wanted.
No.
Right.
No, but that was my adventure. As Spirit said, you're going to have an adventure down there on your trip, and I did, swimming with alligators, and there is nothing to fear except fear itself.
Yeah.
But as I said, you know, that works really well as long as you don't have your glasses on.
That's right. As long as you can't pay any attention to what you don't see.
No.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
couldn't understand, you know, how I could be so calm.
Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine the scenario
If you had
if I had been wearing my glasses.
yeah.
But the first thing she did, because she didn't want me to lose them,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But she didn't. Anyway, that was.
When they tell this
There's
story,
nothing to fear except fear
when
itself.
Dorothy tells a story, somewhere in Germany probably.
Oh, absolutely.
After some schnapps, she's telling this friend of these adventures they have in the United States, and this Reverend that they know, Reverend Betty
Oh,
Tatalajski.
my dear friends.
Yes. And she tells the story of this tremendous, not only of her spirituality, but of her bravery and courage. And she tells the story, and people can't believe it.
Right.
Because the way she tells it is that we're going down the river, and we're surrounded by alligators.
Right.
And I'm screaming.
Right.
And Reverend Betty
Is calm.
is totally calm.
Right.
You would not believe it. I, to this day, still don't believe it.
Right.
And that's what it is.
Absolutely.
And that's her story.
It's from your point of view.
It's from your point of view.
A pair of glasses made a lot of difference.
And you know, if those alligators knew you were afraid,
they would have.
oh,
there would
they
have
would have given you reason.
that from here down.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here
No, you wouldn't
anymore.
be here. Your hair would have probably gotten
No,
wet.
because it was filled.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
with logs, as I said, that open their mouth when I'm lying there now with my glasses on.
You know,
But isn't it incredible that nobody said, you know, they were all hysterical, but nobody said alligator to me.
that's right.
You know?
That's right. They're screaming. They just said, "You're gonna die.
That
You're gonna die."
But they thought
Yeah.
that I was going to drown.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
thought that's what
They
scared
meant no.
them.
They didn't
No.
say, "Oh, an
No.
alligator's gonna eat you."
And they were going to
See
see
it.
No, but all I knew is, you know, as Spirit, Dr. Blair said, you're going to have an adventure. So
You know, this is
I had so many adventures from Spirit that I always knew it was going to end up well.
well. Well, and that's what we were talking about the last program, of how you can be happy here. And because it's not that life changes, it does change radically, but it's not that you don't, and after you're introduced and know about spirit, it's not that you don't find yourself in a river full of alligators. It's not that all of a sudden trials and tribulations disappear.
Right.
It's not that all of a sudden, and that it's like somebody does a magic wand and you're not beset by anything.
Right.
But what does happen is your ability to navigate.
And to know.
The confidence.
The confidence, just knowing. Yeah. There's so much difference between thinking and hoping and knowing.
And hoping and knowing, yeah.
And I knew, because I had already had 20 years of interesting experiences where it wasn't what it looked like.
Yes.
But it could have been, had I been fearful
of it. It wasn't what it looked like.
No.
Those are magic words, folks.
Magic words. It's not what it looks like.
It's not what it looks like. The world, I mean, this is one thing I'd like to say, is that we are creators. It says in the Bible, we are created in the image of God. And people go, oh, well, that means that he's probably around 5'10" to 6'2".
Right, yeah.
He may be left-handed.
Right.
No, I think God must be right-handed, because most people are right-handed.
Right.
All right? And he's certainly not transgendered.
Right.
All right?
No.
He's probably a guy. No, he's probably a woman, because there's more women than men. All right? And so if you're going to carry it to that degree. But it doesn't mean that.
It has to be an anthropomorphic person.
Yeah, we project this out.
We made him in our image.
We made God in our image. But when God said that we are created in the image of God, it meant that we are created as the Creator itself.
Co-creators.
Co-creator. We are co-creators.
Co-creators.
And that means our minds create reality.
That's right.
And the fact that in the middle, that humanity found itself when President Roosevelt said those words, there's nothing to fear itself, the world had created for itself a reflection of fear, murder, death, and destruction.
Right.
And when you were in that river with the crocodiles, the answer is, whenever you are in dire straits,
do nothing.
Do nothing.
Do nothing.
Affirm the safety.
Resist not evil.
And bring in the power of God. Ask, and you will be protected.
And I just knew.
Yeah.
I knew this is an adventure. Yep. And everything is good, but then of course I didn't see the alligator.
Sure.
So, that
helped.
That was the
critical.
magic part. First thing she did.
Yes.
And because she didn't want me to be blind, if I survived.
Well, you
this
had
thing.
assistance.
Right.
As we all do.
It was all done. It was all taken care of.
See, your life before you had the knowledge of assistance.
I would have been eaten by the alligator.
You would have been eaten by the alligator. Absolutely.
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 Because I would have been so fearful.
Yes.
I would have had my glasses on. I would have resisted that.
Yes. And you would have been in the newspaper the next day.
Yes.
Now, that's really what it is.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Love is letting go of fear.
Yes. The alligators are still there.
And
but when you know.
When you know that wherever I am, God is.
Yes.
Now, for the last 33 years, I could write a tome on wherever I am, God is, because they always show up. I don't care where I am, they will show up.
You see, that's what this program is about. It really is. You may think this program is about talking about this. This program is really about that, Reverend Betty Tatalajski.
Wherever you are, God is.
God is. That is, and I think you will find out that when it's easy to believe it, you don't do it.
No.
But when it's hard to believe it, you will.
Yeah.
When it's your last straw, when it's your only prayer, you will pray, friends, and that's when you'll find out it's not what you were afraid it was.
Right. If you get into fear, that's why resist not evil, because what you resist, you draw to you.
It's going to. That's how it got there.
You draw it to you.
That's how it got there in the first place. Right. And if you want it to change, you have to stop bringing it to you.
And move above it.
Move above it and let it go, like a bullfighter.
Say, this is good.
Yes.
This is
Affirm.
good. It must become your mantra.
Yeah. This is good. Well, folks, this is good. 11 o'clock, Temple of Universality. Prince and Country Club.
Thank you, friends. God bless.